Om Nama Sreshtham Manumapi Shachiputram Matra Swarupam Rupam Tasyagrajam Urpurim Mathurim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaram Aho Radhika Madhavasam Prapto Yasya Prasita Kripaya Sri Gurum Tang Natosmi Nindantam Pulakot Karena Vikasat Nipa Prasuna Chavim Prodhi Kritya Bhujadvayam Hari Hari Tyuchairvadantam Muhu Nrityantam Drutamasru Nirjarachayai Sinchantamurvitalam Gayantam Nijaparshadaih Parivritam Tam Gorameva Stumaha Alibhih Paripalitah Pravalita Sanandamalokita Pratyasham Sumana Falodaya Vidho Samodamamudita Vrindaranya Bhuvi Prakasha Madhura Sarvatishayi Sriya Radha Madhavayo Pramodayatu Mam Ulala Sakalpadrumaha Jaya Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath E Chai Gosai Rakori Charana Bandhan Jaha Hoite Vignana Shabhishta Puran Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we've been going through this very interesting, I'll call it interesting for want of a better word, this interesting section of the Priti Sandarbha, where he's talking about Brahma-sakshatkara. And so he has to deal with that. But as we've been at pains to say, for Jiva Goswami, the Brahma-sakshatkara is a little bit different than the way that the Gyanis see it, because he sees Brahma from the point of view of Bhagavan and not from it in its own right, in so sui generis kind of way. So the impersonal understanding of the Absolute. So in the last verses, there in 5.9, as we were discussing that, I was trying to understand exactly what he was getting at with his idea of that the Atma and Paramatma being situated in the same place. So, the Aikyopasanaya was the way that Sridhar Swami interpreted it. And then one thing cannot become another. Well, it was clearly that one dravya, one substance cannot become another substance, as something that Jiva Goswami was trying to there's something that he's trying to establish, that the Jiva is a different substance than Bhagavan, even though they are similar, let's say, in nature in many ways. The Jiva belongs to the Shakti, and Bhagavan is himself the Shaktiman. So the idea of sarvatmata, of becoming the all soul through identification or through being together with Paramatma, is not a possibility in Jiva's mind. But exactly what that was, what the intent was there, because Sridhar Swami said in that commentary that if it's a bimba pratibimba relationship, then the word yoga simply means removing the upadhi, removing the barrier that exists between between knowledge and lack of it. So if one removes the reflecting agent there, then all that's left is the bimba, is the original reflecting object. So, so exactly what was being referred to in the previous verse is it could be a number of different ideas. Even bhakti, one of the possibilities there that it seemed to me was that it's a kind of bhakti that, from the point of view of the Mayavadi or from the point of view of the Advaitavadi, as long as one is thinking of oneself as an individual, separate from Brahman, then even bhakti, simply by worshipping the Paramatma and identifying with the Paramatma through ahangrahopasana or whatever particular system that one is following in devotion, the idea that of identifying with Bhagavan through devotion, that would also be unacceptable as the paramartha from the point of view of the Brahmavadis. So, what exactly was going on there was not entirely clear to me, and I should probably consult with Babaji to get a clarification on what he thinks there. At any rate, there was not so much clarification in the commentary either. So, but at any rate, the reason that I bring that up is because in the next set of verses we get a very clear Advaitic kind of understanding of the supreme truth, and it as well is well. Why don't we just read it and see what happens? I'm going to try to go through it for. There's more verses here than were in the previous sections, and the section is a bit longer. So I'm not going to spend too much time trying to expand on it because I'd like to fit it within the time slot. I don't want to go on forever with this section. So tadevang purva pakshan nishidhya just as usual, I'm not entirely properly prepared. I'm trying to get these. I'm not been making these postings on quite a regular basis, and the reason for that is finding a time and a place that is conducive. Well, it seems that the place is here, where I am now, and as far as time is concerned, probably this is going to be the time. Although it's getting a little hot, right now it's 9:20, and it's starting to heat up, and I don't want to have the fan on for the background noise. So, but there's all these different things to take into account. All right, here we go. So he says, Tadevang Purva Pakshan Nishidhya. So Purva Pakshan, so we've been talking, for those who are just learning a little bit here about the vocabulary that's used, the Purva Paksha and Uttara Paksha, we've been using those terms. Purva Paksha is the hypothesis that is being presented, and Uttara Paksha is the refutation of that idea. The Purva Paksha, the Paksha means a wing or a side, right? So the Purva Paksha is the side that comes first or before, and the Uttara Paksha is the one that comes after. So it's the position, the challenging question, or the proposition, the first proposition that will be counteracted. So in this way, after refusing all the opposing views, tadevam purvapakshan nishidya, prohibiting, uttarapaksham sthapayatum upakrantam ekena. So he now, in order to establish sthapayatum ekena, with one verse, he prepares to establish the conclusive view, the uttarapaksham. So here we go. Tasmat sreyangsya sheshani nipaitani na sangshayaha paramarthastu bhupala sankshepat shruyatang mama. So therefore, there is undoubtedly no end to all these auspicious things. Asheshani. So asheshani means without any end. Right? So there's no end to all these shreyansi, these positive, you may have heard the Upanishadic contrast that's made with shreya and preya. Right? Preya is that which is dear or is pleasing, and shreya is that which is beneficial. So there are many beneficial. There's no end of beneficial things proposed in the scripture. So all these things are beneficial, but they are not the paramartha. They are not the supreme goal. Now hear from me in brief what the ultimate goal is, O king. So Shreyansi, the word Shreyansi here, Jiva Goswami says that it means the paramartha sadhanani, that these are the means or the different practices that lead to the paramartha. So they are different things that are beneficial, but they don't actually give us the paramartha. The paramartha nirdeshas trayenokta. So now he gives that in 3 verses to explain to us what that is, what the paramartha is. These auspicious things means those processes that lead to the ultimate goal, but they are not the ultimate goal. So there are steps perhaps on the way, but they're not the end of the voyage. So now he gives an indication of the ultimate goal in the following 3 verses. Right, so here they are. So now listen to these verses. These are just, so we've been waiting patiently here now for to get the answer. What is the ultimate goal of life? And so this is what Jada Bharata says. So we're doing this from the point of view of a Jnana Marg, or from the point of view of, yes, the Jnana Prakaranam. We were told it's a Jnana Prakaranam. So Eko, Vyapi, Samah, Shuddho, Nirguna, Prakritehe Paraha, Janma Vridhyadi Rahita, Atma Sarvagato, Avyayaha, Paragnanamayo Sadbhir, Nama, Jatyadi Bir Vibhuh, Na Yogavan, Na Yukto Bhut, Naiva Parthiva Yokshyati, Tasyatma Paradeheshu, Satopi Ekamayam Hityat, Vijnanam Paramartho Sao, Dvaitino Tatya Darshinaha. Right, so the previous one we were saying the Atman Paramatma, one dravya, anya dravyam, paradravyatam nayati. You can't, one substance cannot become another. So in each one of them, in the previous one, Bhedakari, Nabhed Paramarthas tu Nabhedavan. There can be no differences or distinctions. It has to be one only. It has to be Advaya Tattva. So here at the end of these verses, he says, Dvaitino atatya darshinaha, that the dualists do not see properly. Atatya, they're not seeing properly. They have not got a proper vision of things. So eko, so now there are 2 parts to this verse, right? So the last part is vijnanam paramarthoso. So the vijnanam, that vijnanam, so that realization or that knowledge, that specific realized knowledge of, that is one, ekamayam, that is singular in nature. So that singular realization of that which exists in one's own body and in the bodies of others. So to see the oneness in one's own body and in others, that is the parmartha. So of that tasya, to see the oneness in nature of that. So what is that? The tasya here refers back to something else. So the tasya refers to the first two verses. So the tasya is that thing which is ekaha, singular, vyapi, pervading, samaha, equal, shuddho, pure, nirgunaha, free from the nature, from the qualities of material nature, prakritehe paraha, beyond material nature, janma vridyadi rahita, free from the six transformations of in life, the birth, growth, maintenance, or old age, deterioration, and death. These are the six symptoms of or characteristics of life of a material body. So those we're free from all those things. Atma, the self. So here is really the substantive. All these other ones are adjectives describing the substantive. So Atma, Sarvagato, all-pervading. Avyaya, indestructible. Avyaya, it's never decreasing, basically. Paragyana-mayo, full of transcendent consciousness, or a consciousness, some other kind of consciousness, another quality of consciousness. Asadvir nama jatyadi vir vibhuch na yogavan na yukto bhuta naiva partiva yokshyati. So he's vibhu. So the idea of vibhu, the idea of this is a more personal kind of statement. He's the all-powerful, the possession of all opulences, the vibhu. But he is, he is never connected to any impermanent names or categories, and he never was so in the past and never will be in the future. So the singular or exclusive consciousness or awareness or realization of that self which exists everywhere in one's own body and in others' bodies, that is the parmartha. The dvaitinaha, those who are dualists, they are not seers of the things as they are. So here's the translation. That which is one, all-pervading, equanimous, pure, free of the gunas, beyond the material nature, free of birth or growth and so on. The self, omnipresent, imperishable, full of supreme consciousness, opulent, does not have nor ever had a false name, class, and so on, nor will it ever have them in the future. O King, a realization of the unicity of that self, though it exists in one's own body as well as in that of others, is the supreme goal. Dualists do not have a proper understanding of this. So I would put, the thing is that vibhu is a substantive, so a little bit of tweaking on that translation required. All right, so Jiva has here's what Jiva Goswami has to say about it. So of course it's interesting for us. But Vijnanam of that self, so the word Atma is being used, and it's going to continue to be used. I'm just looking at 7, so I'm trying to keep a little bit ahead here. And there, Atma-sakshatkara is the term that's being used. But he means by Atma-sakshatkara, if you look at it closely, he means Bhagavat-sakshatkara there. So this terminology, sometimes it has a bit of a fluidity to it. The Atma, Bhagavan is the Atma. He's the Paramatma, of course, but he's still the Atma, the self of the self. So, that renders things always confusing because we make a distinction between selves, and the Upanishads don't make such a great distinction, and so that's where a lot of the confusion in the Vedanta philosophy arises. So ekaha natu jiva iva aneke, right? So ekaha, so Jiva Goswami says here that he is one, and not like the jivas who are multiple. Jwala visfulingeshu agniriva swashaktishu swakaryeshu sarveshu vyapnoti iti vyapi. So all pervading. So now here how Jiva interprets, how does he interpret that? That just like the fire is present in the flame and in the sparks of the flame. We had this example before. In other words, in his energies, in his potencies, and in the products of those energies, in all of them, he is present. He pervades them, and therefore he is all-pervading. And the later word that came in the verse was sarvagata, so gone everywhere. Sarvagata. Gata means gone, sarva everywhere. So sarvagata. So sarvagata and vyapi, they both mean something similar. Sarvagata, we could say omnipresent, all-pervading. So the two terms are similar. So what is the difference? He says sarvagata ityanena jiva iva na khande dehe prabhavena iva vyapnoti iti gyapitam. So the idea there is that the individual jiva, previously it was said that the jiva is atomic. So how does his consciousness pervade the whole body? Well, the example was given of Hari Chandan, right? The sandalwood paste, or kind of sandalwood paste, that if you put one a drop on the forehead, and that the beneficial effects, the curative effects, or the cooling effects pervade the entire body. So in the same way that, in the Gita, the example is given, it's just like the sun is in one place, but its light spreads to every corner of the solar system. So in the same way, the consciousness present within the body radiates out to all parts of the body. So in the same way here, he's saying that that's not the case with Bhagavan. That Bhagavan is not in one place and simply radiating out into all the rest of the universe, into the rest of creation, but he is actually fully present in every aspect or in every corner of the creation. That is the idea. So he's not like the jiva. His all-pervasiveness, his sarvagatatva, is not like the sarvagatatva of the jiva's consciousness in the body. So jiva jnanadapi parang yajnanam tanmayaha tad prakasha pradhanaha. So here, jiva jnanadapi param. So the parajnanamayaha was one of the characteristics. Now what do we say? Parajnanamayaha. How is that translated? Parajnanamayaha, that was here, full of supreme consciousness. Well, we do this parajnanamayaha. So the maya suffix there either can be made of something or full of something. Right? If it's pervaded by something, that's maya suffix. Usually we say, like anandamayo bhyasat, anandamayaha. So the supreme truth is anandamayaha. That means it's not that it's made of something, of ananda, because it's not made of anything, but it's pervaded by, or fully pervaded by, or fully contained with ananda. So that's anandamayaha. So here it's paragyana-mayaha. Jnana is another one of these difficult words because it has idea of both knowledge and of consciousness. And so vijnana is also a difficult word to translate in that context. But vijnana means to have, because we use the word vijnana for science in modern Indian languages. So vijnana means science. So vijnana means, let's say, confirmed knowledge or realized knowledge. So paragyana-mayaha, so here does it mean conscious or knowledge? Paragyana-mayaha, what he has, and so here Jiva Goswami explains that Jiva Jnanadapi parang, so beyond the knowledge of that is, or beyond the consciousness of the Jiva. So he has a consciousness that is on a different level from that of the Jiva. And so what is he? Tanmayaha. So how does he explain the mayaha? That it means tat prakasha pradhanaha. That is dominated. So the maya suffix can also mean dominated by something. So he's dominated by that, revelation of that knowledge, or by the light of that knowledge. So he is always situated in the light of omniscience, is probably the best way to put it. So here's another one that Jiva takes as in interpreting here. So asadbhir, so the idea was that asadbhir, by asadbhir visheshanat bhagavad rupe prakashyepi sadbhihi swarupa siddhaireva namadibhir yogavan bhavati vigyapitam. So by the adjective asadbihi, so that the actual phrase in the verse was that here he said paragyana-mayo. So we had that. So asadbhi. So he's paragyana. He's situated in transcendental consciousness. That's paragyana-mayaha. So even though he's situated in prakritehe paraha, and he's situated in a transcendental state of consciousness beyond that limited consciousness of the jivas, he is asadbihi nama jatyadibihi. So he is nayogavan. He doesn't possess, or he's not connected to all these let's say the impermanent. It is asat. What is asat? Right? Sat and asat. These words we had before. Remember back to sad asad ime rupe. We had back in the first canto verse. I think it was in number 4. In was it 4? 3 or 4. Anyway, it was in one of the earlier anucheds, previous anucheds we saw. That it was talking about Sat and Asat Rupe, and it was there. The Sat Asat was translated by Sridhar Swami and by Jiva Goswami as being gross and subtle bodies. So what is the meaning of Sat and what is the meaning of Asat? Well, Sat is just the present participle of existence. So Sat means existing, and Asat means non-existing. That's the basic meaning, but then it takes on other meanings, like asat means a good person, and asat means a bad person. Sat means truth, and asat means truth, because if it exists, then it's true, and if it doesn't exist, it's not true. So asat, and so then sat also means permanent, because that which exists, na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sataha. That which exists, which is only that which has existence, can come into existence. That's the Satkaryavada is presented in the Bhagavad Gita. The idea that the cause persists in the effect, and that the effect has within it the cause. So one can deduce the causes from the effects. So Krishna says that Nasato vidyate bhavo, the manifestation of a thing cannot arise unless it has previous existence. And if it doesn't have previous existence, then it can't come into being. It cannot be manifested. So here he's saying that asad bir nama jatyadi bihi na yogavan. So being all-powerful, the vibhu, and does not have false names and false or impermanent or anything pertaining to this world. So here, gross and subtle doesn't have any relevance, right? But even so, we could say that he's not asad bihi, not by any false names or forms, not by any unreal names or forms, not by any non-true names or forms or classes or whatever else is nama, jati, etc., etc. So there's all the different kinds of characteristics that can be applied to, all the different kinds of characteristics that can be applied to a particular vishesha, to a particular substantive. So he is never in the past and never in the future will he be. So even though he is present in Atma Paradeheshu, in one's own body and in the bodies of others, that he is not bound by those particular upadis or by the particular names and characteristics that are applied to those external manifestations. Right? So asadbir visheshanat, but so what Jiva concludes from that is that Bhagavad Rupe Prakashyepi, so even though God's form, even though Bhagavan's form can be manifest, Prakashyepi, even though it can be manifest, Sadbhi Swarupa Siddhair Namadibir Yogavan Bhavati Iti Vigyapitam. So he doesn't have a false name, he doesn't have a false form, but he has names, etc., or he has possessed of names, etc., that are Swarup Siddha, that are eternally connected to his essential nature. So Krishna's name, form, etc., all are Swarup Siddha. Swarup Siddha, Swarupa means his essential nature, his essential form and being. And so he is not, he doesn't possess false names, but he does have true names, he does have real names. Agadamana Yashodanandananda Suno Kamalanayana Gopi Chandra Vrindavanindra Pranata Karuna Krishno Ityaneka Swarupe Twai Mamarati Ruchair Vardhatang Namadheya. So may my mind always develop ever increasing taste for your names, which are so many and have so many different names that you have, O Lord. So that is so the idea here, so let's read the translation. So one, ekaha, means he is not a multiplicity like the living entities. So here what Jiva Goswami is doing, clearly he wants to, it's a question of interpretation, right? So Jiva Goswami is drawing a distinction between the one truth and the jivas, but at the same time he's not reading this in the way that an Advaita Vajan would, right? The jiva, so the multiplicity, he is one, so it's contrasting that with the multiplicity of the individual souls, but he doesn't. He's not denying the existence of the individual souls. Just like the fires in the sparks of the flame, he pervades all his potencies as well as his creations, and thus he is pervading, or vyapi. Omnipresent, sarvagataha, which means literally gone everywhere, means that unlike a jiva, he does not pervade the complete body merely by his influence. being situated in one place, as in the previously given example of Hari Chandana. Full of supreme knowledge, Paragyana-mayaha, means his knowledge is superior even to that of a jiva. He is predominated by its light. By the adjective false, asadbihi, it is informed that even when Bhagavan's true form becomes manifest, he has a name, etc., which are true and part of his own nature. So, tasyaivam lakshanasya paramatma rupena atma paradeheshu atmanaha pareshamapi deheshu tat tad upadi bhedena pritak pritagiva satopi ekam tadiya swarupam tanmayam tadatmakam yadvigyanam tad anubhavaha asau eva paramartha. So a long sentence there. So tasya, all right, so tasya, so tasya is what's this tasya? So of that we've just been describing, Atma and Vibhu, those were the two substantives that we had in the first two verses. So that tasya has to refer to those. So we could put everything in the things. We use the Atmanaha. So here he says Atmanaha. He'll say that. Excuse me. So Atmanaha. So tasya Atmanaha. Atma is the sixth case ending of Atma. So tasya Atmanaha. Oh no, that's not what he goes here. Sorry. So, but this is well, we have two Atmas in this sentence, unfortunately. So the tasya refers to the Atma that was found in the first line of the first verse, the Paramatma. Okay, so tasya ebang lakshanasya, so the one characterized as in the first two verses, Paramatma rupena, so as the Paramatma, in the form of the Paramatma, Atma paradeheshu, so now his Christ is Atmanaha, in one's own. So Atma means self, right? So if you can use it as a reflexive pronoun. So Atmanaha means in one's own. Just like you have Swa, you could say Swadeha or Swa and Paradeha. But here Atma, in one's own. So here the second use, the use of the word Atma here in this particular line means one's own. So, but the self exists in one's own body and in the body of others, right? Sarva kshetreshu bharata. Right? So Krishna says, kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. So there's one kshetragya, that's the individual soul, and then you have another kshetragya who is in all bodies. So here he's saying, says Paramatma Rupena, in the form of the Paramatma, he, as described in the first two verses, Ekaha, Vyapi, and so on and so forth, that he is situated Atmanaha Pareshamapi Deheshu, in the bodies of one's own body, or in one's own body and in the bodies of others also. So tad upadi bhedena prithak iva. So tat upadi bhedena. So all these different bodies are upadis, like we had nama, jati, and so on. That you have all these different characteristics that are the false characteristics, the asat nama, asat jati. So in all these different bodies, which are temporary and therefore not real, the Supreme Paramatma is present. And even though he appears to be prithak, he appears to be distinct or different in each one of them, he is not ekam. So therefore he says ekam. He is seen as, even though he appears to be present, he is one. So tadiyang swaswarupam tanmayam tadatmakam yad vigyanam. So tad anubhava. So realization, anubhava means realization. So here Jiva Goswami is saying that vijnana means realization. So realization of him who is present in his own swarupa, in his own true essential identity, even though he appears differently in the different bodies according to their upadis, according to their characteristics, or according to their false characteristics, or according to their superimposed characteristics. My identity is superimposed on me by my body. I identify with this body, with the mind, and with my intelligence and ego. These are all things that I'm identifying myself with, but they are upadis. They are not my real self. So when Bhagavan, when the Supreme Self appears in this body, he is also present here. But just like in the example of the two birds, one anyam ashnati, one is eating the fruits. That's the individual jiva. So he is identifying with the body and tries to enjoy the fruits of his actions within this body. Whereas the Supreme Lord is present within the body, but is simply there, chakasiti. He is just simply situated in his own blissful self-being, and does not become identified with the happiness and distress of the body, or the happiness and distress being experienced by the individual soul who identifies with it. So, so to realize that being and that self as one, in one's own, as being one, even though present in one's own body and present in others' bodies also, that one all-pervading truth, to have direct experience of that, that is the parmartha. So, I missed anything there? Tasya evang lakshanasya, one who is such characterized in that way, as in the previous two verses. Paramatma rupena, in the form of the Paramatma. Atma paradeheshu, atmanaha paresham api deheshu, in one's own body and in that of others. Tad tad upadi bhedena prithak prithagiva satopi ekam. That although he is present in one's own and our bodies and in the bodies of others, and on account of those upadis, on account of those identifications, appears to be different in each one of them, in fact is one. Tadiyang swaswarupam. So the ekam, the oneness of it, means that he is situated, he is fully absorbed in his own swarupa, in his own essential nature. He is full of his own nature. He doesn't become changed by the different upadis, by the different distinct forms and names. So to know him, or to realize that person, to realize that truth, that is the paramartha. The one unchanging truth that doesn't become transformed despite the various comings and goings of this world. That which was present in the beginning, right? Ahameva asameva agre nanya dyat sadasat param. Yoga shishyeta sosmi aham. So Krishna says in the Chatuk Shloki that that which existed before creation, ahameva asameva agre, before the creation I was, nanya dyat sadasat param. There was nothing else beyond this world of gross and subtle forms. So asada sat, these words sada sat are a real trickery one, right? Because in the Upanishads it also says that in the beginning there was only asat. So there was only non-existence in the beginning. These Upanishadic passages. They can be, that was in the Taittiriya Upanishad, they said that. So in the beginning there was only Asat, but Krishna here in the Bhagavatam it said Nanyat Sat Yat excuse me. Ahameva Asameva Agre Nanyat Yat Sadasat Param. So I was beyond both Sat and Asat. I was beyond both truth and falsehood. I was beyond the truth and falsehood of this world. I was beyond the existence and non-existence as it is manifest in this world. I'm param, I'm beyond all those things. Paragyanamayaha, just like was stated here. So, and when this creation is done with, what will remain? Yoga shishyeta sosmyaham. That is I. I am the what will remain when everything else is gone. So that one truth, the supreme absolute truth, is that which exists in all times and all places, and is not, his manifestation is never false. So then it says, so go on here, so anashitvat sadhyatvat sarva vigyanantar bhava vat tvat cheti bhavaha. All right, so anashitvat, because it is non-destructible, imperishable. So that's one of the reasons why it's the parmartha, right? Where these are these were the obstacles that we had to face in the previous things. It was perishable, so therefore that perishability meant that it couldn't be the paramartha. But here, this one truth, existing in all times, in all three times, past, present, and future, unchanging, all pervading, all knowing, all controlling, vibhu, that pure, that supreme entity is non-imperishable, so therefore that's the paramartha. Sadhyatvat is not a means to something else. That is it. That's as far as you can go. You attain this one truth. So he's the sadhya. And then sarva vigyan antarbhava vatvat. So the third thing he's saying, so all other spiritual realizations are contained within him. So the Atma, remember back to the third verse and the fourth verse. So the idea that by knowing the self, one could know him, or just by knowing the self, the individual self, the Jivatma, that one would be, that would be the paramartha that was rejected, right? Because it created the distinctions. It created distinctions. Well, it says here, but what Jiva Goswami argued in that, in his commentary to that one, was that the self is revealed, the Jivatma is revealed through knowledge of the Paramatma. That one can only really know oneself if one knows the Supreme Self. One's own identity is realized in relationship to the Supreme Self and not independent of it. So therefore here he says that sarva vigyanantar bhava. The second, the one also after that was that the idea that through association with the Paramatma, just by simply thinking of oneself as being in the same place as him, that one would get a full through identity with him. That was the fourth verse, the fourth proposition, the fourth Purva Paksha, that through identifying with the Paramatma, that one would have everything. So here he says that sarva vigyanantar bhavatvat, bhavavatvat. So these other kinds of realization of the self, that those are included within this one. So those are the three proofs, let's say, or three arguments that he's given, that why this realization of the one indivisible truth is the paramartha. So yetu dvaitinaha tat upadi drishtya tasyapi bhedang manyante. All right, so now the word tad began, this dvaitinaha, so this verse concluded with dvaitino tatya darshinaha, that the people who have a dualistic view, that they don't have a proper understanding of the parmartha, so they don't have a proper understanding of things as they are. So that was the concluding verse. So what is the dvaita here? Because we already discussed, we had, we in the third proposition, right, it was said that Bedakari Bedavan, and Jiva Goswami argued there that there was a difference between the Jiva and the Paramatma. But here he says that tat tat upadi drishya tasyapi bhedang manyante. Those who see within him, multiplicity, who see because of all these different upadis, because of all these different distinctions that are made within this world, and that therefore the supreme truth is somehow or another multiple. So seeing many gods, the idea that there are many gods, that there's not just one underlying truth, one underlying ground of being that encompasses all things. That has to be the ultimate answer, right? Scientists are also seeking for that one theory that will encompass everything, that will explain everything. And of course, they can't do it. How to reconcile, for instance, ordinary physics with quantum physics? What is the rule that encompasses them both? Well, they seem to be operating by different rules. So, not that I know very much about these things, but certainly there's, what are the all-encompassing theories that include physics and biology, for instance, and on it goes. That we find some things that are applicable, but other things that are not. So what is the all-encompassing rule? What is the all-encompassing basis of understanding? What is the supreme truth? That is the question. So if one sees, to see differences, as we understand from the Bhagavad Gita, that's a question, that's the rajas, to make comparisons and to see distinctions. This is the nature of the rajasic jnana. So tad vijnanena sarva vijnanantar bhavam cha na manyante. So the people who are Dvaitins, they don't recognize, well, you see the sarva vijnanantar bhava, remember the back to this, it says yasmin vigyate sarvam vigyatam bhavati. That was one of the propositions, that was one of the conditions for the supreme truth. So here he's saying that to know this one all-pervading truth, by knowing this one all-pervading truth, all things will be known. So those who do not believe that by knowing this, all things can be known, these are the Dvaitins. Te punar atatya darshina eva iti. So they are people who do not see things as they are. So he who has such characteristics, or that which has such characteristics, or that paramatma which has such characteristics. As you see, I'm revising my translation as I go here. My translation, I said, well, it is my translation. At this point in the process, these translations are mine, and they will be changed before they go to publication. All right, and of course, I'm basically what I'm doing is I'm just revising Babaji's translation, and sometimes I might change it quite considerably. But nevertheless, without Babaji's, well, what we're all doing here is we're all trying to crash our way through the forest and chop down trees and make a path and get to something that is most similar to the original both in meaning and in spirit, which is a tall order, as I can tell you. One has to know both the original, has to understand the original, and one has to know the language. There's a language of departure and a language of arrival. You have to, there has to be, as we're going on, there has to be similarity of the language of departure and the language of arrival, even though they're quite different things. So when you take an airplane and you leave from New York and you come to Delhi, right, you're the same person who's leaving from one place to the other, but you find yourself in a completely new environment. So how to make sure that it's the same person? It's the question of the swarupa. It's the essential nature of the thing that's traveling from one place to another. That has to be maintained, even though the environment, the linguistic environment, has changed. And he has to, so to preserve the essence of that individual has to be preserved in terms of emotion, in terms of not just be some mechanical facsimile. It has to be a living thing. That's the challenge of translation, my friends. So he who has such characteristics, even while existing in his own body, as well as in others' bodies, as the immanent self, being as if separate because of the differences in the adjuncts means the upadis, i.e. the bodies, is one. The experience of this one is indeed the supreme goal, because it is imperishable, achievable, and contains all other experiences within it. That's not too bad. That contains the nice and simple. The thing about Sanskrit is that Sanskrit, it appears to be complex, but when when you come right down to it, it's very simple in its way of expression, and very, let's say, meaning rich. So in general, Sanskrit strives, at least philosophical Sanskrit, strives for simplicity of expression. But even though it strives for simplicity of expression, it uses words that are very full of meaning and well understood in the structure of philosophical argumentation. The structures tend to be very consistent. So just like here, this sentence, we were going through it. He said that anashitvat, sadhyatvat, sarva vijnanantarbhavavatvat cha iti bhava. So it's the paramartha, asoeva paramartha, anashitvat, sadhyatvat, sarva vijnanantarbhavavatvat cha iti bhava. So the sentence is there. So we almost did it. Generally speaking, English translations occupy about 3 times the space of a Sanskrit sentence because of that compact nature of the Sanskrit language. But here he says, the experience of this one is indeed the supreme goal because it is imperishable. That was anashitvat. Achievable, sadhyatvat, and contains all other experiences within it. Sarva vijnanantarbhavavatvat cha. So he who has such characteristics, even while existing in his own body as well as in other bodies, this is the same one. Okay, well, there's I have to erase that, but there's I think that he's in his own body. This is the problem here. It's not his own body. This is a mistake here. Because atma paradeheshu, it's not saying that in the realization, the person who's realizing it is the one who's seeing it in his own body, not the supreme. That's that is I'll have to change that. But the dualists who think him to be different on the basis of the adjuncts, and do not accept that his experience contains all the experiences in it, that experience of him contains all other experiences in it, indeed are not perceiving the truth. Okay, so that was that's the first part of Jada Bharata's answer. So I think from the point of view of Jiva Goswami, he's not not discussing the Brahman in terms of its attributes, right? It's the Vishesha, the supreme truth seen without its attributes and without its energies, even though those are underlying, right? It was Swashaktishu, Sakaryeshu, that just like the fire is present in its in the flames and in the sparks, etc. And so similarly, the Lord is present in his energies and in his in his creation, Swakarya, in the work of his energies. So here, that was the pervasiveness, but at the same time, Sarvagataha meant that he was present personally everywhere, not that he was simply pervading through the exercise of his energies and so on. So, so the idea is that the description of the supreme truth here is a description that is applicable both to Paramatma, Brahman, and as well to Bhagavan, even though the descriptions, so we had this earlier, that this is the Vishesha without the manifestation of his attributes. So we had two different, Brahman was the Vishesha alone, the substantive alone, without any descriptive elements in terms of his personal nature. So he does have some attributes. These are all the attributes that were given, one, all-pervading. These are acceptable to an Advaitavadin as well as to a Bhagavad-vadin. We're all Advait Tattva Gyanis, right? So this is the thing, Vadanti Tattva Vidas Tattvam Yajnanam Advayam. There's one supreme non-dual truth, and that is simply being known as Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti, Shabdyate. So let's go on here. Oh my, we've already gotten to that. Well, I'm going to go through this and, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just finish this. So we'll go, this one will be a little bit longer today. Please forgive, but I'm going to do it anyway. So Tatropadi Bhedair Angsha Bhede Api Abhedo Drishtantena Sadito Dvabhyam. So this is the Upadi Bhedair Angsha Bhede Pi Abhedo. So even though in his different portions, though the portions themselves are different due to the difference in the upadis or the adjuncts, we call it we use that term there, but not necessarily easier for. Well, that's the word we use that for upadi. That's an adjunct. So due to the different adjuncts, there appear to be differences in the different portions of the partial manifestations, the external manifestations of the Lord, of Bhagavan, or of Brahman, that essentially he is not distinct or different. That is being explained by two verses that give the example, that and give an example. So Venu Randra Vibhedena Bhedach Sharajadi Sangitaha Abheda Vyapino Vayos Tatatasya Mahatmanaha Ekatvam Rupa Bhedascha Bahya Karma Pravrittijaha Devadi Bhedam Adhyaste Nasti Eva varano hi saha. Yeah, that mistake didn't get corrected there. All right. Next, in 2 verses, he establishes with an example that the differences in the parts, because of the adjuncts, uh, is also non-difference. That even within the difference in the, or there is non-difference within the difference of the parts that has been created by the upadhi. Yes. The oneness of that great self is like the one non-differentiated pervasive air, which is termed as the notes, such as do, sharaja, when it passes through the different holes of the flute. He is one, but the differences in the forms are born out of the result of the external action of the living being. He exists as the presiding person in the various divisions of bodies, such as the devas, but he is not covered by these bodies. Well, you know what? I should have stopped at the 1 hour point. I'm going to stop and we'll take up with the rest of this afterwards, because that translation is as yet has not been revised, and I think it needs revision. So let's just stop there. Boy, that hour went quickly for me. I hope it went quickly for you. This is. I hope you were entertained by this. But at any rate, it's doing the trick for me here. At least I'm getting when I go through it and I have to explain it, then I see where the problems remain. So let us leave it there, my friends. Jai Jai Sri Jiva Goswami Prabhupada ki, Jai Jai Sri Priti Sandarbha ki, Jai Jai Bhagavata Purana ki, Jai Jai Sri Nitai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol, Jai Jai Sri Radhe, Jai Jai Sri Radhe, Jai Jai Sri Radhe Shyam.